Hark. It's an 87th Precinct podcast bonus episode. This is the bonus episode for Book 35, Heat, from 1981, which is a pretty densely packed set of stories. It's set in the sweltering heat of a city in August. And if you'll have listened to our main episode, presumably you'll know what we thought of that and what we rated it. So time to get down to the important business of looking at the book covers and our own editions first. And I suspect very strongly that we all have exactly the same one down to every detail.
Yeah.
So my one, as I hold it in my hand, is a pan paperback, gold stripe, McBain, an 87th Precinct mystery, and it just shows a fan.
Yep.
It does, yeah.
It really does.
Have we all got the one? Does it cost $1.75 on your editions?
Oh, mine's a princely sum of £2.50 on this one.
Mine's $2.99.
Well, I've been made a fool of. They're all slightly different.
Very slightly
The
different.
same, but slightly different.
Slightly different.
Yeah, this edition published 1983. Mine.
So mine's 1983 as well, but which presumably means Morgan's is as well. And
Yeah.
I still don't fully understand the numbers on the publication sort of copyright pages on this. But I suspect it means there was quite a lot of runs of this done, so that's why it's gone up.
So how much was yours?
$1.75.
Yeah, it shows you what inflationary times there were when the price of a book is going up by about 60% in a
Thatcher's Britain.
in a year.
It explains one of the reasons why there was quite a lot of riots anyway.
Yeah, quite turbulent economic times then.
But yeah, there's nothing particularly outstanding about my copy other than it's slightly falling to bits, and it's got a sticker in the front cover telling me that this book belonged to Michael Blumenthal from Ashburton Road in Birkenhead, Merseyside.
Oh, there you go.
Mine's got 3 prices crossed out inside, which I don't really understand. I think it's got maybe £2.70, and then that's crossed out as well. So God knows how much this cost. I suspect I got it on eBay.
I think I got mine for £1.
And no particularly distinguishing features on this one over here. Just looking a bit yellow, spine completely faded, as these editions tend to.
Yeah, my spine's holding out all right, actually.
Yeah, mine's not too bad, but it is a rubbish book cover, this one, isn't it? It's just a fan.
They haven't really tried terribly hard, have they?
No.
I mean, Colin Thomas, he's taken a lot of good photos for these book covers on the pan editions, but he clearly didn't get a very good brief for this one. Or he just sort of swiveled round in his chair, took a photo and turned back again.
Yeah, perhaps he missed the deadline, thought, shit.
Yeah. So, Stevo, do you want to huff your book?
Yeah, go on then.
Oh, straight in.
Right, okay, yeah.
Pungent.
Middling odours there.
Right, I'll have a go at mine. I'll have to move my microphone a second. Well, that's I like that. That's what I call okay. Morgan?
Let's have a go. Here we are. Yeah. Actually, given how yellowed and sort of slightly damp this edition looks, it's less pungent than I expected. There's a slightly acrid kind of edge to it, but it's not too bad.
Acrid, good word.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the original editions. So the US hardback edition should be the first one you've got there. Would you, Morgan, describe the first one that I have sent to you?
If I'm looking at the right thing, so it's just a detective's badge rendered in slightly dramatic lighting. And then we've got the word heat above it in sort of flame-coloured dramatic lettering.
Yeah.
And that's basically it, really.
Well, you're missing the midriff in the middle of the...
Oh, yeah, I haven't even paid attention to that. Dear me.
There's a body in the middle of it, which doesn't make that much sense.
So there's clearly a female body, like from just below the breastular region to the pant line So we've got a belly button on display, which has nothing to do with the book whatsoever.
No context, midriff.
Other than the idea, possibly an idea to do with Augusta being in. I don't know. That's
Yeah, it seems odd.
It's shite, that one. 0 out of 10.
Oh, a 0 out of 10.
Didn't spot that because I was looking at it in thumbnail. I only saw it when I clicked on it and made it bigger. But I don't really get that. And then the lettering, I guess, is quite nice. I don't know.
1 out of 10.
1.
Yeah,
It's not very good.
it does say an 87th Precinct novel on the front, which the last two didn't.
That's true.
Although, if we then go to the next one, if Stevo describes the next one.
Oh, this is more like it. There's a man in shades pointing a gun at me.
Yeah.
Summer is no season for suicide, but murder happens all year round. ... And then, heat.
Oh.
New 87. Yeah, that's more like it. That gets your attention, doesn't it?
So that's the Ballantine paperback edition, which is weird that it came out in Ballantine, just the only one that came out in Ballantine. So I don't know what was happening there. Because it says on the front in a little star, first time in paperback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there we go. Quite liking that, yeah.
But, it's all right. I mean, it's definitely better than the other one we just talked about. But again, it is someone pointing a gun, which is the go-to for these designs, regardless of the content most of the time.
Quite generic, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely not the gun described in this book, because he does talk about it being the sort of gun that will properly blow a hole in a
horse.
Put a hole in a horse. Next one, I'll describe. It's the UK Hardback Edition. It just says Ed McBain at the top in sort of blocky letters, and below that in heat haze design, and also really badly photographed because it's got a shiny front cover on it, presumably. It's just sort of shimmering the word heat, sort of shimmering.
That'd be better for a book that was entitled Condensation, wouldn't it? That
Ed McBain's Condensation.
Yeah. That's rubbish.
It's just a colour block.
That's rubbish as well. They're all rubbish, these, aren't
I was going to say, I might be trying to read too much into this one, but do you think maybe the sort of the colours behind might be trying to echo the abstract expressionist paintings rather, that are referred to in the novel?
Possibly.
Is that what we're doing? It might be a bit too much of a stretch, to be honest, but
I think that's a very forgiving view of it. But
I'm just trying to make some
sense. West
sense.
German flag, that.
It does look like it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Anyhow.
I mean, as always, I'll share these on our various social media things, but I think we're entering a period, and it's not just McBain, obviously, of book cover design not being great for thrillers and crime stuff coming up.
They're probably the worst selection yet, I would say.
Just uninspiring, aren't they?
Yeah, you kind of feel like the halcyon days of design might be in a thing of the past for these things. Yeah, that those greenback penguins seem a long time ago.
Definitely. Well, we'll see. There's changes in publishers coming up in the next one, at least in America, anyway. So we'll see what that brings next time. So there you go. That's the book covers there. Now, what else have we got to do? So I'll have a quick look at some of the stuff about 1981 in music, TV, and film, and we'll offer some thoughts on, where you could focus your attentions in 1981. I've got the Billboard Hot 100 and UK official top 10 from the time this came out, which was November in 1981. And I mean, looking down this list, I'm not going to make you guess really, but it's the America one is. Well, you wouldn't be surprised with anything that's in there. And I'll tell you what's in at number 10 and the American Billboard Hot 100. The theme from Hill Street Blues.
Yes, indeed.
Because 1981 is the year that Hill Street Blues comes on board.
Excellent.
So be prepared for references to that coming up in future 87th Precinct stories. Angry McBain starts writing about it.
I'm just going to pause here because I'm going to have to feed my cats because they're just meowing their heads off and I won't get any peace. I'll be back in a minute.
Might just leave this in.
Exciting interlude.
Or a broken frying pan. Just go down and see him, and he'll help you if he can. He'll just say, leave it with me. Leave it with me. I'll try to fix that up for you as quickly as can be. He'll just say, leave it with me. Leave it with me.
Right, all done. I'm back.
Hey.
Okie dokie.
Right, top 10.
I mean, the British charts, quite a lot of really big names. Well, in fact, all of it is really.
Is this singles or
Yeah, singles.
Dexies, something like them, kicking round?
Well, it could be. It's. I'll just run it down because
Yeah, well,
there's so many it could be at this time. I'll do the UK top 10. Number 1 was Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic by The Police.
Oh, aye.
Number 2 is Happy Birthday by Altered Images.
Oh, tune.
When She Was My Girl by The Four Tops. Labelled with Love by Squeeze.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4. Number 5, Joan of Arc by OMD. Number 6 is It's My Party, Dave Stewart with Barbara Gaskin.
Oh, yeah.
Just a strange remake of a
Very odd
classic.
cover version, yeah.
Yeah. Number 7 is Begin the Begin, Volva a Empezza by Julio Iglesias.
Old Julio.
In at number 8, New Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. Number 9, Favourite Shirts, Boy Meets Girl by Haircut 100.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But at number 10, it was Tonight I'm Yours, brackets, Don't Hurt Me, Rod Stewart. The American chart's a bit more rocky poppy type of stuff,
Yeah.
I think. Because number 1 is Hall & Oates with Private Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, Start Me Up, The Rolling Stones. Number 3 is the entrancing Physical by Olivia Newton-John.
Delightful.
We've got Foreigner in at number 4. They Are Waiting for a Girl Like You. Then Bob Seger, Try to Live My Life Without You. The Little River Band, The Night Owls,
LRB.
which I don't know anything about the Little River Band or the song The Night Owls. I assume it is a song about some night owls. It's like a kid's song about some owls. Come along.
Twoo, twit, twoo.
Exactly like that. Air Supplier at number 7. Here I Am, brackets, Just When I Thought I Was Over You, close brackets. I've Done Everything for You by Rick Springfield. Then at number 9 is Arthur's Theme, Best That You Can Do by Christopher Cross. From the film Arthur.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, Hill Street Blues, which is a phenomenal theme song, the Hill Street Blues theme.
It sure is.
So, fair bit of music news then in 1981 as well, such as Bucks Fizz winning the Eurovision Song Contest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which the Eurovision Song Contest would have been taking place next weekend,
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
but obviously isn't now.
Are they doing it remotely or something? No?
Nope, they're not.
Just delaying it.
Yeah. And can you guys put together some Iron Maiden news for me in September of 1981?
Bruce Dickinson joined.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're both the firing of Paul Dano and the hiring of Bruce Dickinson for Iron Maiden.
Goodness. From Samson.
Yeah. So a significant year in the life of Iron Maiden there.
Yeah.
Movies. I've got the top 10 grossing US films here. So you can probably guess that Arthur is in there because the song is in the Dudley Moore off being a little tiny sex symbol.
Oh, yeah, quite. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Oh,
Is-
yes,
yeah.
it was.
Number 1,
Have you got like a Rocky sequel, maybe?
not in the top 10. We've got a wacky chase movie,
Or Cannonball Run?
Cannonball Run, number 6.
Fantastic.
We've got a race movie. That's a clever joke, you see, after that one I've just said. Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
I see. That's number 7, which suggests to history that Chariots of Fire is not as good as the Cannonball Run.
Well, it probably isn't, is it? Yeah, fair. Smokey and the Bandit Part 2 was that 1981.
It might have been, but I don't think it was in the top 10 grossing films.
Yeah, but it wasn't far off,
Well, I'm afraid I haven't got that information to hand, so it's just...
In the US, or is this a world?
Well, US, but it's representative, I think.
I guess
More or
so,
less.
yeah.
1980, Smokey and the Bandit 2.
All right, well, there you go. Bond film in 1981.
For Your Eyes Only.
Yep, and that was number 8 highest grossing film. So the ones that we've not got... On Golden Pond is the second highest grossing. Superman 2, which is... I still love that. Brilliant film. Mm-hmm. Number 3. We had Arthur. Then there's Stripes, which is the Bill Murray one.
Oh, yeah.
And then the only other one we didn't get is a thing called The Four Seasons, which is either about the piece of music, literally the Four Seasons, or those pizzas you get with different bits on every quarter. I don't know.
Smokey and the Bandit Part 2 was the 8th most popular film released in 1980.
We probably talked about it in the last episode.
We possibly did.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about it again. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've got a few little quick TV things that came out in 1981. So obviously I mentioned Hill Street Blues debuting, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that more as time goes on. In November in America, The Fall Guy started.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Was that the one with the... Was he
He's a
stuntman?
Stuntman, yeah.
Who solved crimes at the same time or something?
Essentially, yeah, just another one where he had no business doing what he was doing, but he could use his skills. But if you've ever listened to the full-length version of the theme tune, it's absolutely ludicrous. It's just a list of people. It sounds like the character's getting more and more angry about the fact that he does all the stunts and then the stars step in and take the women at the end. So
I think the hook line of the chorus is something like, I'm the unknown stuntman who makes Eastwood look so fine, or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, it definitely opens with, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. It's all that sort of stuff, It's just getting more and more angry in the full-length version of it. By the end, it's like... Burt Reynolds again. Our Australian friends would have been treated to A Country Practice, which I seem to remember being on over here, a soap opera type thing set in.
Country Practice?
Yeah.
It's like get mixed up with the Flying Doctors, are you?
No, it's a more ground-based doctor program, I believe, but similar.
Antipodean ground-based. I'm not interested in those. I prefer airborne health solvers.
Anyway, it was, regardless of its position in relation to the surface of the Earth, it was on and on for quite a long time. But it was a golden era in the UK. This was anyway. I'll throw some names out here that you're just going to be bowled over by, such as Pigeon Street.
Ooh, nice.
Brilliant.
Pigeon Street was a kids' program, which was just fabulous.
And people with giant trousers, didn't it? Pigeon Street.
Yeah.
And sleeves as well.
Yeah, it was great animation. Boo boo. It's the sound of the pigeons.
It had long distance Clara in, who was a female lorry driver. 1981.
Yeah, feminist icon, long distance Clara.
That's why we've grown up so woke. Oh, I don't like saying that out loud, the word.
So comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah. Postman Pat starts in 1980.
Yeah, he's good, yeah.
So I think people, if they haven't seen it, they can probably figure that out.
Ted Glenn was a good character in Postman Pat.
He had a moustache, didn't he?
He did.
He's the guy who could fix anything. He had a great song as well, which I won't sing. But, what was the song called? Leave it to me.
Leave it to me.
Leave it with me.
Leave it
with me. Ted Glenn, good guy.
Yeah, very, very sort of nice pastoral scenes of a man delivering letters and getting into mild situations. Only Fools and Horses starts in 1981.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is obviously a very long-running comedy show that continues to dominate discussions about what the best comedy is, despite the fact that it was occasionally quite patchy and went on for a long time and repeated itself quite a bit.
It did.
I'll probably get into trouble by people saying that.
I don't know. Yeah,
it had its moments. Certainly.
Yeah, when it was good, it was very good. But
yeah, did go on a long time. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV series, which I absolutely love. Fantastic graphics, fantastic cast. The game show Bullseye.
Marvelous.
Oh, right. Okay.
Everyone loves darts-based trivia shows.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, bloody hell. That's great, that.
Danger Mouse, the cartoon Danger Mouse, which I think was shown in America as well. So
it's referenced on The Simpsons at one point, so it must have been. Yeah, there's definitely Danger Dog in an episode of The Simpsons, which is very clearly based on it. So
yeah, Danger Mouse is absolutely brilliant. That's basically like Monty Python wrote a spy cartoon and decided the main guy was a mouse.
Who lived in a pillar box, didn't he?
He did. It was underneath 221B Baker Street.
Yeah, where did Baron Greenback live? I can't remember.
He lived in a flying sort of frog-shaped vehicle.
Did he?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was called now off the top of my head, but I watched an episode of it not long ago, which was clearly a tribute to Yellow Submarine, because Baron Greenback trapped Danger Mouse and his sidekick Penfold in a dream world, a dream cloud, and it was one of the most bonkers things I've ever seen, and it was absolutely brilliant.
excellent.
So if you get a chance to see Danger Mouse, watch it. Loads on YouTube. And Stevo, I've saved this for last just for you.
All right.
Bergerac.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Bloody hell. Yeah.
How would you sum up Bergerac for the uninitiated?
Very similar to the 87th Precinct model in that it's set. It's fairly similar to Isola, the island of Jersey. So instead of New York, it's St. Helier, the parishes thereof Jersey Island, with a recovering alcoholic detective called Jim Bergerac, who drives around in an old... Now, what the hell's the make of that car?
Was it?
Triumph, maybe. I'm going to say Triumph, but an old sports car. And he's got an ex-wife whose his father-in-law is a bit of an entrepreneur who basically crops up in every single plot line imaginable. Yeah, it's both good and absolutely dreadful at the same time in probably totally equal measures, I would say.
It's a cavalcade of British character actors, and it's worth, as you get older, when you sort of realise who these people are and you've seen them in other things, that you can put an episode of Bergerac on and it's like Doctor Who, like that as you go through.
The trouble with it, I've watched a few back in not that long, and the overriding thing is it's quite boring.
It's a slight hindrance.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Jim Bergerac is quite a boring character.
Because he is just a policeman, isn't he, really?
And he's...
For all his brown leather jacket that makes him look slightly edgy.
Jersey in the 80s, he just strikes you as just really dull. Yeah.
It does have a great theme tune, though, doesn't it? It combines sort of lots of detective show signifiers with some accordion to indicate that it's a bit close to France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you've done a great job selling it there, Stevo.
I don't want to. I'm not going to missell it. I'm not one.
You don't want to be responsible for lots of people rushing off and wasting their lives watching Bergerac.
People in America importing box sets of Bergerac for ludicrous prices for import fees.
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, it's a bit of a museum piece now. I think it's not dated very well. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that, we did get a question from Matthew Sullivan on Twitter, and saying that we all love our music, and his question was this: what's your go-to album, artist, group, or genre as accompaniment to reading McBain's? Does it change with the era of the novel?
There we go.
And I'll say straight out, I don't tend to listen to music when I'm reading because my brain doesn't do both at the same time.
Yeah, I'd find that totally impossible. I don't think I've ever. Yeah.
I just can't. I can't background music when it's on.
No. If I ever have the telly on whilst I'm reading, I have to have it on a very, very low, if not mute, volume.
I
So,
actually
yeah.
do tend to have music on a lot of the time when I'm reading, just because I do a lot of my reading on my lunch breaks in work when I'm actually in work. So obviously just trying to shut out everyone's conversations. So, I quite often I'll listen to like jazz when I'm reading, not particularly just reading McBain, but it's quite good to have on when you're reading, because obviously not having a vocal a lot of the time can be helpful with not having something that just takes you out of reading. It's never occurred to me to try and match things up by era. I was listening to, I guess, a lot of kind of late 50s, early 60s sort of hard bop, post bop, kind of early free jazz, Ornette Coleman, Charles Mingus. And I've also recently got a bit into the second Buddy Rich big band when he reformed them in the 60s, and they were a little bit groovy in 60s. It's well worth a listen to. So that's kind of what I tend to listen to whilst reading my McBain's.
Well, that's interesting, because I think from what I know about McBain's musical tastes, I think he would probably approve of most of that, I think, as well. I don't, like I say, I don't really listen to music whilst reading, and I don't know if it's just some sort of psychological fear of not paying enough attention to one or the other. I probably should just relax about it and not worry. But there you go. But what this question does give rise to is you could probably go for every year that one of the books comes out, you could go and find the perfect accompanying record or something like that. That might be a fun challenge to think about. I might have to try and do that online in some way, because whatever you listen to for Cop Hater, The Mugger and the Pusher in 1956, what would that have evolved into by 1966 or 76?
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, I like it.
It's an interesting question to ponder. Anyway, talking about pondering music and stuff like that, I suggested that we might have a think about something from the year of the book that we personally each like. So from 1981, like an album and a film that we individually like that we could mention.
Definitely.
So, Stevo, do you want to go first? What do you think? What's your 1981 picks?
Well, it's a good job it wasn't going to be Bergerac, because I could fire up about Bergerac again. What a great guy. Exciting place Jersey was. No, I didn't. I went with instinct here, and as soon as 1981 was mentioned to me, I just went for the first things that I knew that I've always liked from that year. And so, do you want them in any particular order?
Do what you feel. It's all new.
So, music. We mentioned them earlier. Iron Maiden would be 1981.
Oof, yeah.
Killers released, which I think was released towards the end. They toured with it. I think they probably toured maybe with Bruce. I don't know. Anyway, yes. Quite an underrated Iron Maiden album, I would say, but an absolute cracker.
Excellent.
In the main songs that they'd had kicking around for quite a while, I think, really. But the title track and Wrathchild and Murders in the Rue Morgue, the Ides of March. Oh, yep.
Great record.
Yeah,
it is. Good. Yeah, and
Splendid.
I think that was probably the first Iron Maiden LP I had. Fished out of a bargain bin for a couple of quid, I'm sure, in Huddersfield. Yeah, but a great record.
Smashing. And what was your
film again?
Choice?
I went for the first film that I thought of that I knew came out in 1981, which is Das Boot, which also has the added spin-off of having a television series, which is, I think it's all the same thing. It was made at the same time, so basically the cinematic release is just basically a shortened down cinematic version, abridged of the television series, which must have run for 8 to 10 hours, I would have thought. And anybody who doesn't know it, it's a German U-boat crew story in the Second World War, and it's as war film goes, it's very interesting and quite moving. And that's lots of people shouting the word "alarm" in regular intervals, and moments of great tension, especially when they're trying to navigate the Straits of Gibraltar. And it's got very good music. Somebody famous would have undoubtedly done the music for that, I'm sure.
All right.
But Jürgen Prochnow, all in German, so subtitled. But yeah, excellent.
Yeah, good pick. Well, my picks, music-wise, it's a funny period. I obviously did what I normally do, which is look around Beatles and ex-Beatles. But funny, 1981's a funny year where there's not masses of stuff happening. Only Ringo's got an album out in that. Obviously, Lennon was killed in 1980. Yeah, so there wasn't anything in that field. So I picked a Zappa album.
Excellent.
And I've picked Tinseltown Rebellion.
It's a good one.
Which is one of my favourites of the Zappa albums of that era. I mean, it's quite coarse in terms of the content and the lyrics and things, but it's mainly live recordings, isn't it? And it's got Stevie Vai on guitar on there as well.
Yeah, it's got like quite a bunch of pretty convincing reworkings of older material and some fairly solid new stuff, hasn't it? It's a strong early 80s band.
Yeah, it's the fact that it's got a couple of older things on it as well.
The band being able to do Brown Shoes Don't Make It all the way through live, I think, is staggering. That was pretty great to hear.
Yeah. So that was my pick out of. I mean, I think he probably produced about 3 or 4 records that year himself.
There's definitely You Are What You Is and the Shut Up and Play Your Guitar possibly that year as well.
Yeah, I think that's there. But that ended up being my pick for 1981 music wise. And for film, I've picked Clash of the Titans.
Terrific.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
The Ray Harryhausen animation. Oh, it's wonderful.
Jason the Argonauts was on last week.
Well, keep an eye out. You're likely to be Clash of the Titans at this very soon because it's sort of always on.
They tend to go hand in hand, don't they? Those, yeah.
Yeah, I've always loved Clash of the Titans. I've always loved the little clockwork owl in it, and those Ray Harryhausen animations just absolutely transporting. Yeah, I'm not one that does down CGI because some CGI is absolutely fantastic. The Avengers films, for instance, and things like that. You can't fault that in terms of effects and storytelling. But when you then go and see something like Clash of the Titans with the stop motion animation, and you're still totally sucked into the story,
yeah,
it's very powerful. Very powerful. So, what are your picks, Morgan?
Yeah, like music-wise, there's a lot to choose from for me because 1981, in terms of punk, particularly kind of the developing American kind of hardcore punk scene, there was loads of stuff to choose from, like debut albums by Black Flag and The Adolescents and a lot of bands like that. But actually, after a bit of consideration, I think my pick to recommend to everyone would have to be Fair Warning by Van Halen.
Oof.
Their 4th album. It's my favourite Van Halen record. It's an absolute corker. Bit darker than their earlier material to some extent, but still loads of fun. Great tunes, amazing guitar playing. Just not a moment wasted, really.
Cool. Who's the singer on that?
Diamond Dave, obviously. Yeah. Diamond Dave Lee Roth. It's a pre-jump, but not as successful, I think, probably chart-wise. I don't think it really had like a hit single or anything, but lots of great stuff on there.
Excellent.
A lot of kind of live favourites. And then film-wise, I'm going to go for Scanners, the David Cronenberg movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
excellent.
I've always been kind of fascinated by. It's I love the early Cronenberg movies anyway. And obviously some spectacular special effects.
Patrick McGowan in it
Patrick
as well.
McGowan, definitely. I seem to recall a pretty cool kind of analog synthy soundtrack as well. Loads of paranoia. It's just you know what you're getting with those early Cronenberg movies. It's weird and fascinating and just really compelling, even though it doesn't necessarily make a massive amount of sense. I think I read somewhere that they were still writing the script whilst they were filming it, and it feels a little bit like that, but it doesn't stop it being great.
Excellent stuff. Well, there you go. Should anyone wish to peer into our view of 1981. They can follow up on those things. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah. Right, excellent. Well, I think that'll do us for our bonus episode for this particular outing. We will be back before too long with our look at ice. We've had heat, we're going to ice. This is where we're at now. Single word titles for a little bit anyway. Right, so until next time, I'm going to sign off with a hearty goodbye.
Goodbye.
And fare thee well.